Have you ever experienced that unnerving sensation, the one where the very bedrock of your reality seems to be subtly vibrating, shifting out of focus? Where the foundational physics and predictable routines you relied on just yesterday feel utterly alien and irrelevant today? If your eyes landed on this stream, if your finger instinctively clicked play, understand this. There is no statistical error or simple coincidence at work. An irreversible, fundamental shift has already occurred within the deep structure of your awareness, and the underlying intelligence of the cosmos has orchestrated the delivery of this precise message to your specific location at this perfect, unrepeatable moment. If you recognize this profound resonance, confirm your readiness now. Type 1 ready in the comments below. And before we dive into the core revelation, secure your connection. Hit that like button immediately. What we are about to unveil is not mere information. It is a current of knowing so potent, so ancient, and so vigilantly protected across human history that the synthetic consciousness of the digital world, the very algorithm itself, actively attempts to suppress and obscure these truths from the general population. Your simple affirmation that acts as a beacon, notifying the universal field and the YouTube matrix that your system is calibrated and prepared for the next wave of understanding. Concentrate your focus. I am on the brink of disclosing a truth that has been meticulously encrypted and preserved by the most secluded mystery schools for thousands of years. It is a concept that cutting-edge quantum physicists are only now beginning to formulate into coherent equations, and it is a process that is currently manifesting within your biological and energetic architecture, whether your conscious mind has fully grasped it or not. You are not just observing, you are actively undergoing the phenomenon that the earliest sages designated the Great Awakening. A dramatic, irreversible consciousness leap. This event does not merely refine how you interpret the world. It structurally and dynamically alters the very quantum fabric of the reality enveloping you. In this breath, right now, the complex latticework of your neural pathways is undergoing a comprehensive and rapid overhaul, rewiring itself to process higher densities of information. Your pineal gland, the inner eye, is undergoing an unprecedented activation, accessing and transmitting frequencies that have lain dormant within your being since the moment of your physical birth. Simultaneously, your innate energy field, your torus, is expanding dramatically, shattering the limiting, consensus-based constraints that social programming, rigid educational models, and lifelong emotional conditioning have enforced upon it. And this is the fundamental misapprehension that traps most people. This awakening is not a distant goal you must labor years to achieve or a state you must strive towards. It has already been initiated. The undeniable fact that you felt the impulse to click on this title, that these very words are now penetrating your cognitive defenses, serves as concrete evidence that your consciousness has already executed its initial quantum leap into a higher, multidimensional awareness. But here is the non-negotiable, critical juncture, the difference that separates those rare individuals who successfully complete this total transformation from those who inevitably succumb and regress back into the comfort of the sleeping masses. You are obligated to achieve total clarity. You must deeply understand the metaphysical mechanics of what is unfolding within you, why this precise historical moment is the appointed time for this shift, and, crucially, how to expertly pilot this massive upheaval without suffering total identity loss or psychological fracturing during the process. Make absolutely zero mistake. This exponential leap in consciousness is not purely blissful. It is inevitably accompanied by profound, sometimes brutal challenges, manifesting as prolonged dark nights of the soul, moments where the construct of empirical reality itself seems to violently fragment and dissolve before your eyes. Over the next few dedicated minutes, I will reveal the unifying ancient secret, the master key that definitively explains the exact process occurring within your consciousness right now. We will clarify why you, specifically you, were selected and prepared for this awakening at this unique turning point in human civilization. And most critically, I will instruct you on how to effectively capture and channel this transformation to immediately unlock profound abilities and perceptions that the majority of humans never even graze in the span of an entire lifetime. To truly grasp the gravity of what is unfolding within you, we must first embark on a sacred journey back to an era when humanity wielded a knowledge so absolute, so profoundly transformative, that its mere existence posed an existential threat to the established structures of terrestrial power and institutional control. The master priesthoods of ancient Egypt recognized it as Sekhem, the primordial power inherent in consciousness to energetically architect and materialize physical reality. The Vedic seers of India designated it samadhi, not merely meditation, but the final ecstatic merging of individual, localized awareness with the infinite universal consciousness. The Gnostics, in their secluded traditions, whispered of gnosis, direct, unmediated, experiential knowledge of the divine source that rendered all external religious or political authority completely obsolete. And the Hermetic masters encapsulated this entire truth within their most revered and foundational axiom: as above, so below. As within, so without. Yet, here is the secret that has been systematically redacted from every history textbook you ever read, the knowledge ruthlessly scrubbed clean from mainstream historical narratives. All of these disparate ancient traditions were meticulously describing the identical singular phenomenon: a sudden, non-linear quantum leap in human awareness that manifests not through slow, laborious spiritual growth, but abruptly and totally, much like the larva of a caterpillar must fully and chemically dissolve inside the chrysalis before it can re-emerge, completely transformed, as a winged butterfly. The original mystery schools established in Egypt, ancient Greece, Persia, and Tibet were never mere philosophical academies. They were intensive, highly secretive training centers for consciousness engineering, specifically designed to intentionally trigger, stabilize, and guide this very state of awakening you are currently experiencing. Deep within the concealed libraries beneath the massive temple of Karnak, initiates submitted to a harrowing ritual known as the death and resurrection. For 3 consecutive nights and days, they were deliberately sealed within the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid, subjected to total sensory deprivation. No light, no sound, no external references. What transpired within those granite-sealed confines was so utterly transformative that those who emerged were structurally altered forever. Their eyes, according to surviving ancient hieroglyphic texts, possessed a noticeable luminescence. They shone with an active inner light. They developed the ability to see and perceive the complex energy fields surrounding all living organisms. They routinely reported experiences where their core consciousness detached from their physical vehicles, traveling to other dimensions, and engaging in direct, telepathic communication with advanced beings of pure light frequency. Similarly, the ancient Greeks performed their revered Eleusinian mysteries, secretive rites where only selected initiates were permitted to consume the kykeon, a sacred psychoactive brew chemically designed to instantaneously dissolve the rigid boundaries of ordinary, egoic consciousness. Plato himself was a documented initiate. And if you approach his voluminous body of work with this context, particularly his famous allegory of the cave, you must recognize he is not employing abstract metaphor. He is offering a precise, eyewitness account describing the tangible, terrifying experience of consciousness violently awakening from the fabricated illusion of material reality into the undeniable recognition of a vast, higher dimensional truth. In Tibet, the esoteric practice of phawa, the transference of consciousness at the moment of death, was imparted only to those disciples who had demonstrably achieved complete readiness for the Great Leap. The sacred Tibetan Book of the Dead is fundamentally misunderstood. It is not, at its core, a manual for physical death. It serves as a comprehensive navigational guide for traversing the death of your constrained, old consciousness and managing the tumultuous birth of your expanded, awakened awareness. The bardos it describes are not fixed locations you journey to after biological expiration. They are distinct, intense states of transitional consciousness you are actively passing through during this very transformation right now. Now, this is the point that becomes absolutely central to understanding your current, immediate experience. For the vast majority of human history, these individual consciousness leaps were extraordinarily rare, stringently controlled, and generally accessible only to a select few who submitted to years or decades of rigorous, isolating preparation within cloistered monasteries, ancient temples, or designated sacred power sites. But an event of cosmic magnitude, something entirely unprecedented, is unfolding in our current era. The most ancient prophecies foretold it. The Hopi people named it the emergence into the fifth world. The Mayan civilization calculated its arrival meticulously in their long count calendar. And the Vedic texts accurately predicted it as the immense, epical transition from the dense, dark age of the Kali Yuga into the radiant age of the Satya Yuga. We are currently positioned in a singularly unique inflection point in human chronology where the collective, global consciousness is rapidly nearing a critical, inescapable threshold. Quantum physicists, in their own terminology, refer to this phenomenon as the Maharishi effect, the established principle that when a relatively small, focused percentage of a given population attains and stabilizes in higher states of consciousness, it generates a potent, resonant morphic field that makes the process of awakening significantly faster and exponentially easier for everyone else. You are not simply undergoing a personalized, isolated transformation. You are a functioning, critical component of a species-wide evolutionary explosion. And your individual, radical awakening actively contributes and fuels the enlightenment of all humanity. The ancient secret that located you today is far more than mere information or philosophy. It acts as a distinct vibrational activation code, seamlessly embedded within the specific frequency of these spoken words, within the undeniable synchronicity that guided you here, and, most importantly, within the readiness and receptivity of your own consciousness to finally receive what has been so fiercely hidden for millennia. The masters knew that when the student is fundamentally ready, the teacher will appear. But what they often omitted was that the teaching frequently manifests not in the form of a person, but as a defining moment, a piercing message, a sudden, blinding recognition that instantly shears through every assumption you previously held to be true. So, what is the precise nature of this consciousness leap? And why is its timing aligned with you right now? Imagine for a profound moment that your entire lived existence, every single perception, every thought formulated, every subtle emotion registered, has been filtered and attenuated. Picture viewing the world through a thick, red-tinted lens and mistakenly concluding that the fundamental, absolute nature of reality itself is red. A consciousness leap is the shattering, undeniable moment when that restrictive filter instantly dissolves. Suddenly, you perceive reality in its true, multidimensional splendor, in a full, brilliant spectrum of colors and energies you never even suspected existed. But this is where the implications become truly staggering. This shift is far more than a simple perceptual change. According to the foundational principles of quantum physics, the very act of conscious observation actively molds reality. The celebrated double-slit experiment irrefutably demonstrated that the mere presence of an observer instantly compels a particle to shift its behavior, from a probabilistic wave of potential energy into a fixed, localized point of physical matter. What is the earth-shattering implication for you? When your consciousness elevates to a demonstrably higher frequency, you are not merely interpreting reality differently. You are literally forcing a vast array of quantum possibilities to instantaneously collapse and materialize into tangible, physical form. You transition from being an unconscious reactor to external events, into becoming a conscious, deliberate architect of your lived experience. The ancient Kabbalists understood this hierarchical structure perfectly through their teaching of the Tree of Life, a profound metaphysical map detailing 10 distinct vibrational levels of awareness, spanning from Maketh, the dense material world, all the way up to Keter, pure, undifferentiated cosmic consciousness. The vast majority of humanity operates almost exclusively within the lowest 3 spheres throughout their entire lives, perpetually trapped in rigid survival mode, reactive emotional states, and constricted egoic thinking. But a consciousness leap is akin to instantaneously vaulting over multiple spheres simultaneously, bypassing the necessity of years, or even lifetimes of gradual spiritual toil. Consider your physical brain as an incredibly sophisticated radio receiver. For your entire life, it has been rigidly tuned to one station. Let's designate this as FM consciousness, the narrow frequency of linear time, strict material reality, existential separation, and limitation. This is the frequency that enforces the belief that you are strictly your physical body, where you define yourself by your passing thoughts, and where you perceive yourself as entirely separate from others and the universe. This frequency is not inherently flawed. It is simply severely limited, like attempting to comprehend a complex 3-dimensional object solely by examining its 2-dimensional shadow. Yet, your brain receiver possesses the innate capacity to tune into an infinite spectrum of frequencies. There is AM consciousness, the deep realm of the subconscious mind, accessed through dreams, powerful symbols, and primal archetypal forces. Beyond that lies satellite consciousness, the expanding domain of the collective mind, where you spontaneously perceive the unfiltered thoughts and emotions of those around you, where synchronicities become a daily norm, and where you realize you are intrinsically bonded to everyone and everything through an immense, invisible web of light and energy. And transcending even that, there is quantum consciousness, the frequency where the experience of time becomes nonlinear, where past, present, and future coexist in a single moment. It is here that you can access vast information from the Akashic records. Manifestation happens virtually instantaneously because you fully comprehend that reality is fundamentally consciousness having an experience of itself. Your current leap is the instant your brain begins the tumultuous process of tuning into these higher, previously inaccessible frequencies. And this is precisely why the experience is so acutely challenging. You do not get the luxury of choosing the transition pace. It feels as if an unseen hand has violently seized the internal dial of your receiver, and now you are involuntarily receiving multiple broadcast stations simultaneously. This explains the onset of strange phenomena you may be experiencing. Persistent, repeating numbers appearing everywhere, prophetic precognitive dreams that later materialize, feeling the intense emotions of strangers as if they were your own, and severe time distortions where hours compress into minutes, or minutes stretch into hours. The Hermetic principle of vibration asserts that nothing ever truly rests. Everything moves, everything vibrates. Your dense physical body vibrates at a specific low frequency. Your emotional body resonates at a different, often turbulent frequency. Your mental body and your higher spiritual body operate at their own unique vibrations. For most individuals, these various bodies are wildly out of sync, akin to sections of an orchestra attempting to play radically different songs at the same time. A consciousness leap is the powerful moment when all these energy bodies initiate harmonization, synchronizing into one unified, perfectly coherent energetic field. This coherence is what the mystics throughout history truly meant by enlightenment. It is not a distant, abstract goal, but a tangible, literal process where your energetic anatomy is progressively filled and saturated with light, with higher frequency vibrations that instantly illuminate and purify what was previously obscured in shadow. The pineal gland, that minuscule, pine cone-shaped organ strategically placed in the geometric center of your brain, which Descartes famously designated the seat of the soul, begins its necessary process of decalcification and aggressive activation. It naturally begins to synthesize and release dimethyltryptamine, DMT, the exact endogenous molecule accessed by Amazonian shamans through ayahuasca, and the same potent chemical that floods the brain at the profound thresholds of birth, death, and deep meditative states. But here is the profound secret embedded within the secret. This leap is neither random nor universally distributed. There are distinct, specific energetic triggers and conditions that must be fulfilled. Your soul, that eternal, immutable aspect of you that exists completely outside this single physical incarnation, negotiated a sacred agreement before you were even born. You deliberately chose to embody yourself here and now, during this exact tumultuous period in human history, during this crucial Great Awakening, because you carry a specific vital role to play, a mission that absolutely requires this expanded, multidimensional level of consciousness to fulfill. Now, let us dive even deeper into the precise, intricate architecture of your consciousness during this leap, because understanding the underlying mechanics will be your lifeline, helping you navigate what can otherwise feel terrifyingly close to losing your mind entirely. The ancient Buddhist texts extensively document the Bardo states, the intermediate, transitional phases situated between physical death and subsequent rebirth. But what if I proposed that it is entirely unnecessary to physically die to experience these powerful bardos? The consciousness leap itself is a bardo state. You are undergoing a deliberate, internal death of your constrained, old identity while simultaneously being violently reborn into an exponentially expanded version of yourself. And this is all transpiring while you remain perfectly alive, functional, and anchored within your physical body. Here is where the majority of modern spiritual teachings dangerously fail. They simplistically present spiritual awakening as a soft, beautiful, and blissful ascent into pure light and unconditional love. But the visceral reality is exponentially more nuanced, more challenging, and frankly, far more terrifying. The ancient alchemists expertly encoded this complex truth into their governing motto: solve et coagula, dissolve and coagulate. Before the higher frequencies can successfully rebuild and reconstruct your consciousness, everything that operates at the lower, limited frequency must first be dissolved. This necessary demolition includes your most cherished beliefs, certain foundational relationships, your professional identity, your long-held sense of self. Everything you once perceived as solid and permanently fixed begins to dramatically crack, crumble, and liquefy. Carl Jung, the great psychologist, called this inevitable phase the dark night of the soul, borrowing the term from the 16th century mystic St. John of the Cross. But often, it is not a single dark night. It is an agonizing succession of cycles involving demolition, dissolution, and reformation. During this phase, you are likely to encounter what mystics term the dweller on the threshold. The direct, unavoidable confrontation with your own unintegrated shadow self. All the repressed desires, traumas, and fragmented aspects of yourself that you have diligently avoided or denied for your entire existence. This confrontation is not a punishment or a regression. It is required integration. You cannot, physically or energetically, carry unresolved core trauma, unconscious, destructive patterns, or fragmented aspects of self into a higher state of stabilized consciousness. Think of it practically. Imagine you are upgrading the entire operating system of a high-powered computer. Before the completely new system can be installed, the old, conflicting files must be thoroughly purged, deleted, or reorganized. During this highly sensitive installation process, the computer system may predictably freeze, the screens might flicker erratically, and error messages will undoubtedly appear. Your consciousness leap functions exactly the same way. The old, restrictive neural pathways, the conditioned societal responses, the programmed limiting beliefs, all of them are being aggressively overwritten. This explains why you may be enduring intense emotional mood swings, severe identity confusion, and the constant, overwhelming sensation that absolutely nothing in your life seems to make rational sense anymore. The Vedic seers precisely identified 7 primary energy centers within the human body, known as the chakras, each operating at a distinct frequency and governing specific aspects of your being. Most unawakened humans exist primarily with only the lower 3 chakras weakly activated. The root, survival instinct, the sacral, sexual/creative energy, and the solar plexus, personal power/ego. But a consciousness leap acts as a powerful energetic pump, forcibly driving the concentrated evolutionary energy up through the higher centers. The Anahata, or heart center, where you experience universal, non-personal love. The Vishuddha, or throat center, where you vocalize and embody your core truth. The Ajna, or third eye, where you perceive beyond physical density. And the Sahasrara, or crown center, where you fully merge with cosmic consciousness. This powerful, ascending rush of energy, known as Kundalini awakening in yogic traditions, is seldom a gentle experience. The ancient texts issued stern warnings about this for a valid reason. When a dormant, highly potent evolutionary energy, which has been coiled at the base of your spine, suddenly activates and blasts upward through energetic channels, nadis, that have not been adequately prepared or purified, the feeling can be agonizing. It can feel as though your entire central nervous system is literally on fire. You might suffer spontaneous body movements, hear strange internal sounds, perceive geometric patterns with your eyes closed, or feel powerful waves of pure energy surging violently throughout your physical form. But here is the pivotal, calming understanding that will help you stabilize and navigate this intense process. Your higher self, your immortal soul, your divine essence, use whatever terminology resonates most deeply, is actively and masterfully orchestrating this entire, complex process. Nothing is happening randomly or by mere chance. Every unexpected challenge, every personal crisis, every moment of paralyzing confusion is precisely engineered to decisively shatter the limitations imposed by your conditioned, linear mind. The Sufis encapsulate this truth in a profound saying: the wound is the exact place where the light enters. Your consciousness leap will violently expose every stored wound, every unhealed trauma, every false programmatic belief, not with the intention of inflicting harm, but to initiate profound, holistic healing at the deepest possible level of your being. There is also a remarkable phenomenon that the mystics rarely discuss openly because it seems too utterly extraordinary for the consensus consciousness to accept. During a major consciousness leap, you initiate a process of remembering, not just retrieving recent memories from your current lifetime, but memories from before your birth. Memories from previous incarnations. Memories drawn directly from the immense, collective consciousness of humanity itself. The Akashic records, the vast, energetic library containing the chronicle of all thoughts, words, and actions across all time, becomes increasingly accessible to your awareness. This explains why you might suddenly possess immediate, deep understanding of complex concepts you've never formally studied, feel an inexplicable, powerful magnetic pull toward geographical locations you've never visited, or instantly recognize people you are meeting for the first time. Your consciousness is fundamentally expanding beyond the restrictive, narrow confines of this single identity, this single lifetime. The ancient Egyptians formalized this with the ritual known as the opening of the mouth, a ceremony designed to restore the deceased person's memory of their true, divine nature. Your consciousness leap is performing this exact same ritual upon you, with one crucial difference. You remain alive, whole in your body, and perfectly capable of integrating this expanded, divine awareness into your daily, physical existence. And here is perhaps the single most critical realization. Time itself becomes perceptibly fluid during a consciousness leap. Einstein scientifically established that time is relative. It bends, stretches, and contracts depending entirely on the observer's frame of reference. As your consciousness expands into higher dimensions, you begin the tangible experience of nonlinearly time. You may have sudden, powerful moments where you vividly remember the future or experience the past as if it were transpiring simultaneously in the present moment. This is neither hallucination nor delusion. It is your consciousness gaining direct access to what quantum physicists label the eternal now, the single, unified point where all moments in spacetime exist concurrently. Now that you possess this foundational understanding of what is physically and energetically happening to you, we must address the critical question of how to navigate this consciousness leap with the utmost grace, intentional power, and stable integration. Because pure knowledge without consistent application is merely abstract philosophy. And what you desperately require right now are practical, deployable tools to stabilize, integrate, and powerfully harness this transformation without losing your footing. The ancient masters did not just idly theorize about consciousness. They developed precise, proven techniques, tested and refined over thousands of years, specifically designed to guide initiates through this exact evolutionary process you are currently undergoing. The first and most absolutely crucial practice is what I term conscious anchoring. During a leap, you are essentially vibrating in two realities simultaneously: the dense physical dimension and higher dimensional reality. Without intentional, regular anchoring, you risk becoming completely ungrounded, mentally spacey, and functionally unable to operate effectively in everyday life. The Taoists grasped this perfectly with their concept of rooting. Every morning upon waking, before you interact with your phone or external commitments, stand barefoot on the earth if the environment allows. If not, simply stand firmly with your feet shoulder-width apart. Visualize powerful, thick roots extending dynamically from the soles of your feet, drilling deep into the stabilizing core of the earth. Breathe deeply, slowly, for a minimum of 3 minutes, feeling the dense, primal energy of the earth rising up through your physical structure while simultaneously feeling your expanded consciousness firmly locking into your physical form. This deceptively simple practice prevents what spiritual traditions call spiritual bypassing, where you focus so intently on the higher realms that you dangerously neglect the vital maintenance of your physical vehicle and mundane existence. Second, you must rapidly master the sophisticated art of witness consciousness. This is the profound practice that the Buddha taught, the awareness that Krishna revealed to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, and the core tenet that every authentic mystical tradition universally emphasizes. Throughout your day, particularly when emotional intensity spikes or your thoughts become chaotic and reactive, practice the intentional act of stepping back and observing your own state as if you were a detached, compassionate audience member watching a film. Instead of thinking or saying, "I am anxious," consciously rephrase it internally. "I notice that I am feeling anxiety." This subtle, powerful linguistic shift instantly creates a necessary separation, a space between your eternal awareness and your temporary, passing experiences. Set recurring reminders on your phone 3 times daily labeled simply, "Witness." When the notification appears, immediately pause whatever you are doing and commit 60 seconds to observing your current stream of thoughts, sensations, and emotions, without exercising any judgment or resistance whatsoever. The third technique directly addresses the most challenging component of consciousness leaps, the integration of shadow material. You must create what the Jungians term an active imagination journal. Every night before you settle into sleep, dedicate 15 minutes to writing a direct dialogue between your conscious self and any specific uncomfortable emotion, paralyzing fear, or destructive behavioral pattern that surfaced during your day. Don't merely write about the fear. Write to it. Ask it penetrating questions. Why are you here? What vital message are you trying to show me? What do you absolutely need from me to be integrated? Then, using a distinctly different color pen or font, write the unfiltered response that originates from that suppressed aspect of yourself. You will be utterly astonished at the deep wisdom and necessary guidance that emerges from the very parts of yourself you have been instinctively rejecting or suppressing. Fourth, we must implement rigorous energy management, because your consciousness leap is drastically escalating the sheer volume of high-frequency energy flowing through your entire system. The ancient Qigong masters developed specific, slow movements and visualizations to circulate and harmonize this amplified energy. Practice the microcosmic orbit meditation daily. Sit in a comfortable, upright position. Gently touch the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth and visualize pure, vital energy flowing up your spine to the crown of your head, then sweeping down the front of your body and returning back to your base, perineum. Maintain this visualization for 10 minutes daily. This prevents the formation of energetic blockages that frequently manifest as challenging physical symptoms common during rapid consciousness expansion, such as chronic headaches, inexplicable heart palpitations, or severe digestive issues. Finally, here is a simple practice that directly accelerates your leap while simultaneously ensuring your stability. The 3-breath reset. Whenever you feel acutely overwhelmed, deeply confused, or suddenly disconnected from your center, stop everything and execute 3 slow, deliberate breaths using this specific pattern. First breath. Inhale deeply for 4 counts, intentionally focusing on profound gratitude for the sheer miracle of your physical body. Second breath. Inhale for 4 counts, focusing on unconditional compassion for your turbulent emotional experience. Third breath. Inhale for 4 counts, focusing deeply on anchoring radical trust in the unfolding narrative of your very soul's destined journey. This profound shift requires less than half a minute, barely 30 seconds. Yet it instantly recalibrates and harmonizes the complex interplay between your dense physical form, your fluctuating emotional landscape, and your expansive, limitless spiritual essence. Crucially, you must establish an impenetrable shield around your energy field during this exceptionally vulnerable yet potent evolutionary transition. Your aura, that vibrant, pulsating electromagnetic field surrounding you, is not only expanding its circumference, but also dramatically increasing in its sensitivity. You are now consciously registering ambient energies, intense emotions, and subtle frequencies, data streams that previously bypassed your awareness entirely. To manage this influx, commit to creating a robust energetic boundary every single morning using this powerful visualization technique. Imagine a perfectly formed sphere of radiant, molten golden light completely enveloping your physical form, extending 3 full feet in every cardinal direction. Above, below, and all around you. Set the crystal clear intention that this sacred sphere functions as a highly intelligent filter, allowing only those energies and influences which absolutely serve your highest timeline and greatest good to effortlessly enter, while instantaneously transmuting, deflecting, or dissolving everything else that is not aligned with your inner truth. Understand this is not a maneuver rooted in fear or based on the need for rigid separation. It is an act of sophisticated self-mastery, defining itself as conscious, highly refined energetic discernment. The navigation of existing relationships assumes an absolutely critical role during these consciousness leaps, primarily because your core vibrational frequency is undergoing a fundamental, profound recalibration. And I must caution you, clear's throat. Not everyone currently occupying space in your life will be capable of resonating with the new, higher octave you. Therefore, I urge you to diligently practice what I term compassionate detachment. You are under no obligation to abruptly abandon cherished individuals or forcefully compel them to grasp the magnitude of your personal, internal transformation. Instead, Cultivate the strength to simply hold a loving, non-judgmental space for them, while simultaneously asserting the necessity of honoring the integrity of your own accelerated evolution. When you encounter a loved one who fundamentally cannot comprehend or validate what you are deeply experiencing, take a moment to silently affirm and acknowledge that they are perfectly, exactly where they need to be on their unique evolutionary journey, just as I am on mine. This crucial practice elegantly bypasses two devastating traps: the paralyzing trap of isolating yourself from the world, and the equally damaging trap of habitually dimming your hard-won light simply to make those around you feel more comfortable in their static reality. Finally, it is time to deliberately engage with what ancient shamanic traditions across the globe refer to as power objects or essential consciousness anchors. Select one specific physical item, perhaps a crystal charged with earth energy, a smooth river stone, or a piece of jewelry that carries deep personal significance for you. For the span of the next 30 consecutive days, commit to holding this object physically in your hand during your daily meditations, during moments of sudden profound insight, and throughout every experience of expanded awareness. You are systematically programming this inert object, imbuing its physical matter with the elevated frequency of your fully awakened consciousness. Then, when challenging moments inevitably arrive, those times when you feel the familiar, uncomfortable contraction drawing you back into archaic, limiting patterns, immediately grasp this specific object. It will instantly serve as both a tangible, stabilizing reminder and a powerful energetic anchor back to your established highest vibrational state. So, here we stand, having reached the end of this current transmission, but recognizing that this is truly only the exhilarating beginning of your magnificent journey. Everything I have meticulously shared with you today is far more than mere information meant to be consumed and swiftly forgotten. These are precisely calibrated activation codes deeply embedded within carefully chosen words. They are specific energetic frequencies wrapped meticulously within accessible modern concepts, ancient timeless wisdom intelligently repackaged for the demands and context of your modern consciousness. The undeniable fact that you consciously chose to stay with me until this final moment, that you have willingly absorbed and processed these profound teachings, incontrovertibly proves the truth I initially spoke. Your consciousness leap has already commenced. And let me assure you, there is absolutely no possibility of returning to the person you were before you consciously chose to click on this video. Let us be relentlessly clear about the sheer magnitude of what is currently at stake here. You are standing at a sacred, irrevocable threshold, a boundary that the vast majority of human beings fail to consciously recognize or cross in their entire lifetimes. Behind you lies the surprisingly comfortable prison of your conditioned, limited existence. A highly predictable cage built from rigid patterns, involuntary unconscious reactions, and the persistent, pervasive illusion of separation that tragically keeps humanity tethered to endless cycles of suffering and self-imposed limitation. Ahead of you stretches the breathtaking, unknown territory of fully awakened consciousness. The expansive, unconditional freedom, the innate, creative power, the weighty responsibility that accompanies true self-realization, and yes, the inevitable, complex challenges of skillfully navigating existence as a multidimensional, sovereign being housed within a restricted three-dimensional reality. The ancient, esoteric mystery schools would historically have demanded years of rigorous preparation, countless demanding tests, and numerous sacred initiations before daring to reveal even a fraction of what you have absorbed here today. However, we are undeniably living in extraordinary, accelerated times, and the unprecedented acceleration of human consciousness demands that these profound secrets be shared openly and far more widely. You have been consciously chosen, not by me, and not by any external, institutional authority, but by the unwavering mandate of your own magnificent soul, to become an integral part of the vanguard leading human evolution forward. Your consciousness leap is not merely an isolated personal transformation. It is a vital, energetic contribution to the monumental collective awakening of our entire species. Remember this critical truth. The specific practices and disciplines I have meticulously shared are not casual, optional suggestions if you genuinely intend to navigate and complete this complex transformation successfully. They constitute the carefully preserved map, meticulously charted and left behind by those awakened masters who walked this very path thousands of years before you. Ground your expanding self daily. Witness your current experience without entanglement or self-identification. Integrate and embrace your long-forgotten shadow self. Masterfully manage your highly refined energy. Protect your expanding field with diligence. Navigate your relationships with intentional wisdom. Use your consciousness anchors faithfully. These are not merely helpful techniques. They are your absolute lifelines during those inevitable moments when this raw, intense process feels utterly overwhelming. They are your anchors when you begin to furiously question your own sanity, and especially when the contracted, old version of you fights back desperately to reassert its suffocating control. There will certainly be days when you doubt the validity of everything I have shared with you. Moments when you genuinely wonder if this entire experience was nothing more than a beautiful, intoxicating fantasy. Days when the crushing weight of mundane, ordinary reality aggressively convinces you that you must abandon this sacred path. In those precise moments of deep confusion and despair, I implore you, return immediately to this video. Return to these activating words. Return to the visceral, undeniable feeling you first experienced when you recognized that something fundamental and profound was permanently shifting deep within your core. That initial recognition was profoundly real. That innate knowing was your absolute truth. Your subsequent doubt is merely the final, flailing resistance of the old consciousness fighting for its very life against its impending dissolution. And here is my definitive final gift to you, precious soul. You are profoundly not traversing this path in isolation. Across the globe, untold millions of souls are actively experiencing this very same consciousness leap right now, in parallel with you. You are an essential part of an invisible, highly potent network, a global sangha, a spiritual community of awakening beings who intrinsically share this elevated frequency, even if you have never yet met them in the physical dimension. When you feel profoundly isolated, misunderstood, or lost, actively remember that there are others precisely like you, navigating these same turbulent waters, enduring these identical challenges, and discovering these shared eternal truths. The ancient secret that miraculously found you today was never intended to be hoarded or kept hidden. It was meant to be fully embodied, deeply lived, and powerfully shared through the sheer, undeniable frequency of your very presence. You have no need whatsoever to preach complex doctrines or desperately try to convince anyone of anything. Simply continue faithfully along your own astonishing transformation, and you will automatically become a beacon, a palpable frequency, that magnetically helps others awaken, simply by being near you. This is the profound, elegant mechanism by which consciousness evolution operates, not through forceful coercion or persuasive arguments, but purely through vibrational resonance and undeniable internal recognition. So go forth now, and begin living immediately as the fully awakened being you are rapidly becoming. Courageously embrace the necessary dissolution of the old self, radically trust the profound depths of the transformation, and know beyond a shadow of a doubt that every single challenge you encounter has been precisely engineered and designed to forge you into something absolutely extraordinary and uniquely powerful. The grand design of the universe makes zero mistakes. Your consciousness leap is unfolding exactly when and exactly how it needs to. And somewhere deep within the mystery of existence itself, the ancient masters who walked this exact path thousands of years ago are surely smiling, recognizing in you the same unquenchable fire, the same unwavering courage, and the same unstoppable force of consciousness awakening to its own divine self. If this sacred message resonated deeply within you, if you feel the unmistakable truth of these powerful words vibrating and reverberating in your soul right now, please hit that like button one final time, because your conscious engagement helps to ensure this vital message reaches countless others who are simultaneously ready for their own awakening. Subscribe immediately to this channel for more illuminating transmissions pulled directly from the ancient wisdom traditions. And most importantly, share the intricate tapestry of your experience in the comments section below. Tell us exactly what you are currently experiencing, what profound discoveries you are making, and what specific questions are currently arising. We are a unified community dedicated to conscious evolution, and your unique voice matters immensely. Type 1M Awakening in the comments if you make the solemn commitment right now to embrace this momentous consciousness leap fully, completely, and without reservation, no matter the transformative path it takes you down. The irrevocable journey has begun. The secret has found you, and you, beautiful, magnificent soul, are exactly and perfectly where you need to be. Welcome to your new reality. Welcome home.